And Ghana is making progress in its talks to restructure its external debts and hopes to achieve a resolution by the end of the year. Its finance minister says on Wednesday. In a budget speech, the country's finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, says on negotiations to restructure Eurobonds, Ghana have received illustrative proposal on debt treatment scenarios from the two bondholder groups. He says the aim was for the agreements in principle on restructuring parameters with Ghana's official bilateral creditors in the coming week. To discuss these, we're joined live by Emmanuel Amoah from the partner C-KADD Global. Good morning. Glad to have you join me, Emmanuel.
Good morning. It's great to be on your show.
All right. Now, Ghana has been about this restructuring deal for quite a while now. And I mean, there's been a number of measures to edge it closer to securing the deal. I mean, that includes issuing new bonds with low coupons. I mean, kindly just walk us through how this will help reduce the overall debt burden and make more affordable to service.
Thank you so much. And so let's do a little backtrack. Before Ghana got the IMF program approved in May 2023, July of 2022, when Ghana applied for a bailout program from the IMF, in December of the same 2022, Ghana received what we call a staff level agreement. And the staff level agreement admonished Ghana to do two things. First was to restructure its debt, and secondly, to also embark on structural reforms. And so on the domestic side of things, government started debt restructuring, which government ended in February of 2023. Now, the other component is for government to restructure its external debt, and which has become a little bit difficult because of the number of players in the space. We have bilateral creditors, we have multilateral creditors, we have those who issue Eurobonds, and the list is endless. And that is why it's become quite difficult for government to reach an agreement as soon as possible. By the end of September of this year, government public debt had reached 567 billion, and of that, the external component was 326 billion, and then the domestic component was 240 billion. So it's clear that the external component of Ghana's debt is higher than that of the domestic component. Hence, the need to restructure the external debt, which is part of the IMF conditionalities for us to get the next tranche disbursement in the coming days.
Emmanuel, I mean, this may look good for Ghana, but don't you think this would be a drawback for it in the sense that it could make the country appear as a risky borrower and even make it more difficult for it to sell its debts in future?
Already, Ghana's debt is, according to the debt sustainability analysis by the World Bank and the IMF, already Ghana is in debt distress. And so this is a known position for investors. But what government is doing now is to restructure its debt so that in the medium term, Ghana's public debt will trend downwards to about 55%. And so as I speak to you now, Ghana's debt as compared to GDP is hovering around 66% to GDP by the close of September. And this is a stark reduction from 73% at the end of December 2022. And so government is doing it taking steps to reduce its public debt going into the future. And so investors, they know about the position of Ghana, but they also have to know that
I'm afraid that's the most we can take on the program. But thank you so much for your expertise. Emmanuel Amoah, partner C-KADD Global. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.